Hi, my name is Charlene Wilts, and I'm going to do my presentation on behavioral innovations in New Braunfels, Texas, where I did my 50 hours of volunteer work this semester. So, at Behavioral Innovations, they work to provide a safe place where children with autism can learn at a pace that is specifically designed for them. And each therapy for each client is unique. Um, So, autism is a very broad spectrum. So, not every child who has autism is going to be the same and they're not going to learn the same. So, at Behavioral Innovations, they create individualized therapy plans for each child so that they can learn in the most effective and efficient way possible for them and that they can get the most out of therapy by it being tailored specifically to them. The client population at Behavioral Innovations is mostly children that are under the age of 3. The oldest is 10 and the youngest is 2. So there are older children that go to Behavioral Innovations, and the older children usually go after school. So they go to Behavioral Innovations to work on their social skills and their skills with peers and what you can and cannot say to people and just things like that are developmentally appropriate for them. And then the younger children are there all day and they work on stuff like adaptive and receptive and just like things that normal children would learn that they have a harder time picking up and understanding. So the therapy plans are tailored to them and where they are at. So, what does Behavioral Innovations do? Behavioral Innovations provides behavioral therapy to children who have autism. Therapy programs used can also help language and communication skills. Behavioral therapy helps to improve attention, focus, memory, social skills, academics, and also helps to decrease problem behaviors. Behavioral therapy helps to prepare the children to be successful independently and to be able to live a normal life despite a diagnosis. So basically, they just help children with autism become the best versions of themselves that they can be. Um, they help with language and communications skills. Some kids with autism they um, can't speak. They haven't developed that skill, and some of them develop it much later. So they help them with programs to help them start speaking earlier, whether it be through pegs, which are just like little phrases or words that a child can use or they'll point to, so they know what the word means. They just aren't able to say it, but still being able to know what it means is still good for them. And then helps them just any way that they can become the most successful versions of themselves, whether it be in therapy after they get discharged or later in their life when they're on their own. Sources of funding. Behavioral Innovations is a private for-profit agency. Services are paid for by medical insurance, and what is not paid for by insurance is paid for out of pocket by families. So, an example of something that is paid for by families is so some insurance companies only pay 90% of therapy um, sessions, so parents will have to pay the other 10%. Um, Insurance also does not cover respite services, so that's when after the therapy is over with and the parent will not be able to pick the child up for like another hour or something like that. They have to pay for that respite service out of pocket. And also, in 2007, the state of Texas passed a law saying that all autism based services are to be paid for by medical insurance companies. So, and then what I did at Behavioral Innovations. So, I shadowed the BCBA during therapy sessions. So, the BCBA is a person who creates the therapy session, creates the therapy plans for the children for their sessions. And so I would shadow her when she would go in and she would do one-on-one therapy with a child to make sure they're where they need to be with their session, if she needs to fine tune anything, if anything needs to be updated, if they are far way more advanced than what their program is having them do, just things like that. Um, I really enjoyed being with her. I thought that the kids that went there are awesome, and I got a look into really every kind of kid was there. It was a really cool experience, and I really enjoyed shadowing her. She made me feel very included, and she never made me feel like I was just sitting there shadowing, um, which I really liked. And then she also looks over and makes sure and to make sure that the RBTs, which are the people who were in the therapy sessions when she's not there, are running them correctly, and so the child doesn't come up with any more problem behaviors, or there's no problem behaviors arising through the sessions. And then when the BCBA is not there, I would help the office manager or do house cleaning tasks. So I would help her do the schedule. I helped her do that. Just billing, making sure everyone did their soap notes so that the notes could be billed out to insurance, and just little things like that to make sure everything is running smoothly. And then who does Behavioral Innovations network with? So Behavioral Innovations networks with medical insurance companies. That's the billing and things like that. They're back and forth. And then physicians, psychiatrists, neurologists, or psychologists. So these are the people who are able to diagnose autism spectrum disorder. So they're able to refer to clinics and things like that. We also work with doctors to when a kid has like, let's see, diabetes or something like that, because we are able to access their records. So we work with physicians to make sure we can see those records and what they recommend us doing with the children to make sure that they're safe when they're in our environment or in their environment and things like that. And then charities and other organizations that help fund for children who do not have medical insurance and who cannot pay out of pocket for therapy. Gaps in the social welfare system. So a gap in the social welfare system that I started to think about was how a family was able to fund the autism diagnosis for the child but does not have insurance to pay for therapy. But this made sense when I found out that in 2007, insurance passed a law, or Texas passed a law that insurance has to pay for autism-based therapy. But in this law, it is said that Medicaid and CHIP are not able to pay for diagnosis, are able to pay for the diagnosis, but they do not pay for therapy. So so if a family has Medicaid and CHIP, they're able to go to the doctor to be diagnosed with autism, but there's nothing further that these two can do for the families. So my most memorable experience, I was able to witness a client say his first word. Amazing. So in the therapy sessions, they use timers. And so you're able to use a timer on your phone just to make sure everything is running accordingly and not going over time and stuff. And so the BCBA asked me to put a timer on my phone for 2 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And when I was doing that, I have my cat as my screensaver. So the client that we were working with, he looked over at my phone when I locked it, and he was kind of looking at it differently. And they kind of like push him to say words like, what's this? Like, what are you looking at? So I was like, what are you looking at? Like, what is this? And he said cat. And that was the first time he had ever said a word. And especially being like in front of me, amazing experience. Everyone started freaking out. He was smiling. I was like, you said cat? It was just a great experience. It was something super cool that I have never even witnessed a child without autism say a first word. So the fact that this little boy was able to say the word, and the fact that he was able to generalize it because he has never seen my cat before, so that he's seen a cat before and he's known it's been a cat, and that he said the word cat is just amazing. And he was also one of those kids that uses the Peck book, so he's nonverbal. So that was just a really great experience to be able to see that, and I will definitely remember that forever. And then the most significant thing I learned is my career goals and what I want to do after graduation. So I'm graduating in May, And if you would have asked me before doing this, I would have said, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But after this, I just realized that I love working with kids that have disabilities. It's extremely rewarding. The relationships you're able to make with the children, not only the children, but the families, it just something like that I could definitely see myself doing for as my career and the population that I want to work with. So that makes me really excited, and I don't know. I think that I would do really well in a setting like this at Behavioral Innovations. So that makes me excited. So I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity because it really led me through the path and taught me what I want to do when I graduate, which is scary to think that I'm graduating, but it's very exciting. So I am now excited. So thank you.